In this video, I want to talk about FileMaker's new licensing program that they introduced with the release of the FileMaker 15 platform. Now, this new licensing program is called FLT, or FileMaker Licensing for Teams, but it really should be called FileMaker Buffet, because really what you're doing is you're making your purchase of the license so much simpler. Say, for example, that you go to a restaurant and you have 10 people with you or 20 people with you, and you need to order for each one of them. And you have to figure out what they're going to use and when they're going to use it and what they need and all that kind of stuff. That's a lot of information to gather from the people, a lot of planning that goes into that. But it's a lot easier to take everyone to a buffet, to a restaurant where it's kind of you get what you want. And that's really what this new licensing program is. It's FileMaker Buffet. You simply take the number of people that are going to want to access your FileMaker system, you add it up, and that's what you pay for, the number of people times the total amount. So to be clear, the FLT license, which I'm calling the FLT Buffet license, the idea is that you can take everyone to the restaurant, you can bring them to FileMaker, and they can use the client software or the method that they choose to connect to the database. They can use a laptop or a desktop computer with FileMaker Pro. They can use an iPhone or iPad of any various flavor with FileMaker Go. They can use an Android device and connect with WebDirect. So these are all supported. These are all buffet options that they can line up and eat as part of their FileMaker license, which makes it so great because you don't have to think about, well, I need so many of these WebDirects, I need some of these FileMaker Go's, I need some of these FileMaker Pros, and you're ordering them separately. Do away with that. Just get one buffet license. It's the same price as what FileMaker used to pay, so it's not any more expensive. In fact, in a lot of cases, it's cheaper than buying things itemized a la carte. It's very much like going to a buffet. Now, just like a restaurant buffet, there are rules, and the rules are very similar to that. The requirement of the buffet is that you can take 10 or 15 or 30 people with you to the buffet, but they have to eat the food while they're there. They don't get to load it into their bags and their pockets and take it with them out of the building. And so that analogy works very well here. FileMaker's assumption is that you will be connected to the internet somewhere. So that buffet restaurant really is the internet. So the idea is that as long as you're in the office or away from the office, but you have an internet connection, then you're going to be able to take advantage of the FileMaker Buffet. However, if you're the kind of person that wants to pack a side of chow mein or rice or something like that and put it in your bag and take it with you out away from the buffet, well, the people at the buffet are not going to like that, and it kind of breaks the rules. FileMaker's like that. So if you actually are going to take a copy of FileMaker Pro and a local database on your laptop, and you're going to go out of your office, and not only out of the office, but away from the internet, you have no internet connection at all, then that is really outside of what the buffet offers you. So if you're that kind of person, then what you need to do is think about taking the 10 people to the buffet and adding those people up, and the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people that might go out of the office and getting them an extra license of FileMaker to cover that contingency. So that's the whole idea behind the FLT buffet. So what about public access? Well, what about public access to a buffet? If you buy 10 people and they're going to come to the buffet, does that open it up and allow you to invite the public to come to the buffet? No, the buffet is for those 10 people. Public access is not granted to you as part of the buffet. So if you want to get public access to your database or whatever you have in mind, then you're going to need a license outside the FLT buffet. Now with FileMaker, you can actually hire an additional person and pay FileMaker the difference as you upgrade. You can always upgrade the license, and then annually you can downgrade the license. So if you only had 15 people at the buffet and now you're down to 10, or you had 50 and now you're down to 45, you can do that. That's not a problem. Now keep in mind that you can order the buffet in an annual subscription, which is fairly inexpensive, or you can pay for it on a buyout license, or what we call a perpetual license. Now, once again, the buffet analogy works really well here. So with an annual FLT buffet, you're going to pay FileMaker annually to renew. Now, it's at a discount, so you save quite a bit of money, but that also guarantees that as FileMaker brings out new fresh food for you at your buffet, you always get the freshest, latest food. If you buy it outright and then you don't keep up with the maintenance on an annual basis, then you're going to be at the buffet, but the food might be getting a little old after a couple years. In fact, I get phone calls from people who are eating 7, 8, 10-year-old FileMaker. and it can give them indigestion sometimes. So it makes sense to stay up to date with your FileMaker licensing. So if you're going to do a buyout or perpetual license, then make sure every year you're buying the maintenance. That means that you get the freshest, latest food from FileMaker every year. If you're buying an annual license, then you are legally required every year to pay for that license, and it's discounted, but you have to pay for it every year. And if you don't, then you have to leave the buffet. If you don't pay the buffet people, then you have to leave the restaurant. You don't get to sit there and eat free food. You have to pay. So you have two ways of going about it. Once again, the annual FLT or the perpetual FLT. But FileMaker is really going this way to making things simple, because it's so much simpler to take people out to a restaurant when you don't have to know what they all are going to want, right? This person wants steak, this person wants Chinese, this person wants tacos and enchiladas and Mexican food. It's so much easier if you just take people to one place and they use what they want to use. And that's how the FLT buffet works. They get to use Pro if they want to use Pro. They get to use Go if they want to use Go. They get to use WebDirect if they use WebDirect. It all works, and they get to choose the product that they want to eat. And that's the whole idea of the buffet. So I'm Richard Carlton. This is your quick overview of FileMaker's FLT buffet licensing program.